The mind doesn't have a proper word for everything. Because everything still draws a line between a thing and everything else. To say everything is to reference all of the things. But we're still differentiating things. Every time my mind tells me what someone may be thinking about the words that I'm saying, the first thing I realize is that all of those people are still me. The next thing I realize is that there's nobody watching me right now except this camera and this computer, which is recording this data. The people I've made up, or I've made up this person has made up a future in which I upload this video. Any imagination that I use to describe a scene to back this information up doesn't exist. For example, if I think that I'm going to record this video and upload it, then I can be afraid of skepticism. But that also assumes that anyone will watch it. And then if we assume that someone's going to watch it, then I have to assume that someone else is me. Sorry, so someone else isn't me. So we have no guarantee of what happens next. And even when I say that, there's a assumption that there is something next. An asteroid could come down and explode this entire area. And that assumes that asteroids exist. Sorry. It's my dog. Space must exist. I say space must exist because when I speak from the identity of the whole, I say nothing. I cannot speak. But sorry. Forget that last thing, it's not important. But I just noticed that I've wasted my own time. In the sense that this video has almost been going on for 8 minutes. And I've barely said a paragraph. You do exist. It's difficult to explain. One moment I want to say that there is a individual, but then the moment I try to understand it, I realize there's not. There's a person who speaks and says, this thing looks this way. And you can challenge it. This is difficult because you are everything, but you still exist as this person. So, challenge it. Say, if I say, I'm holding a cup, challenge that. The person thinks he holds a cup, but you can challenge the person. If you do this enough, the mind won't be able to produce an answer. You'll say, the mind will say, I know this is a cup, because of course it's a cup. And so when you hear that answer, challenge it. Is that all the proof you've got? How do I know that this cup is not me? How do I know that since I am holding this cup, that it has not become a part of me. Just like the food I ate earlier has become a part of me. And the mind will say, because you didn't eat the cup. And you'll say, right, but the food may be inside my body, but how do I know that this cup, you could even go as far as to say, how do I know that this cup is not inside my body? And the mind would say, well, of course it's not inside your body. You see it outside of your body. And then you'll say, right, but how do I know where my body ends and begins? How can I say what is and is not my body? Could it be that everything in my environment is my body? Could it be that right now I have no butt because I can't see it? How do I know that my butt is only there unless I feel it or unless I see it? Whatever your mind says, challenge it. Eventually, your mind will run out of answers. But be careful. Because at some point, you'll think you have something figured out. But there's nothing to figure out. So, here's what you'll do. Every time the mind figures something out, or every time you think you figured something out, challenge it. Challenge it. And what will end up happening is that you'll find out that this answer can't be known. How do I know? How do I know that when let's pretend for a moment that I'm a surgeon and I have a body in front of me. If I decide I'm about to cut into this body, I mean the person, not everything in existence. If I decide I'm going to cut into this body and I'm going to open it up, before I do that, how do I know that there is anything inside this body? You may say, well, you cut it open and look. Okay. How do I know that there was anything inside this body before? What if there's a consciousness that exists? Another dimension that exists? And that is what you are. Right now, my entire body has a blackness within it. There's nothing inside, there's no organs. All there is a blackness. Or you could say that all there is a skin. that there is no organs except the skin. Now, this would mean that everything around you on the outside looks like a skin. So this wall, or this couch, looks like a skin. It acts like a skin. But if I were to rip it open, how do I know that there's no blackness on the other end? A void. Think about this. What if the air around you is also the material around you? What if I could clap my hands and, like Noah, spread the waters? Was it Noah? It wasn't. It's probably Moses. What does it matter? I'm Moses, and instead of spreading the water, I spread the air. And how do we know that when I spread the air, instead of a physical existence, I'll see a void? How do I know that if I do this and spread the air that's on this side of the room goes this way, the air that's on this side of the room goes that way? How do I know that there will not be anything there? There may be a darkness or a void that exists between everything, and you can't see it because you exist in the three-dimensional reality. I don't claim to know anything as a person, but I do claim to be everything. You, watching this right now, you judging me, it's just me judging myself. Right now I'm chasing my tail over there. A thought of the person came up. It said, it reminded me of something Damon said the other day. I uploaded a video to MBTI and I told him you can watch it before I put it on public, so you can decide if you want it on there or not. And he told me that everything I make is good content by default. I wonder if uploading this video would be good content in Damon's opinion. Challenge the mind. When the mind says, oh no, I'm losing my enlightenment. Be like, What are you talking about? Who is my? And what is this enlightenment? Find my. Show me where he is. Challenge the mind. The mind will stop having answers. The mind will try and fail because there are none. There are no answers. Xander. Quiet, buddy. This is my dog. Xander, hey. Come here. Hey. Not their butt. Come on. They want to see your face. He needs a haircut. Hey. Forgot what I was saying. Ah. So cute. You look cute. There are no answers. I began to bother my roommate. We were going through the drive-thru to get some food, and we went to McDonald's. And I said, I've got some things to show you. And then anytime she made a statement, I would make another one that would say the opposing, basically, like Xander stinks. Or I think Xander stinks, I would say. Are you sure that you think Xander stinks? There's so many assumptions in this one phrase. And I would break it down and I would say, First, you have to believe that you and Xander aren't the same person. And if you believe that, then you'll find out that you stink. You'll also find out you smell good. I was like, but there's another problem. What is stinks? In order to have a smell that stinks, you have to have a person. So if there is no Xander, and there is no you, and you're both, you stink and smell good. But then the problem that arises is that in order to stink, you have to have a person, or someone with an opinion. And then you'll find that since you and Xander are the same, so is everything else in this room, that you have no opinion. Because first you must believe there's a person. Oh, you look so cute. Look, he's falling asleep. I looked so high a second ago. I'm not high, by the way. My eyelids droop a lot, but I don't smoke. Well, I mean, this doesn't smoke. It has, but it didn't like it. Stop trying. At first, you can try. Just start questioning everything. Start questioning the lines that divide things. See, enlightenment is a personal experience because the person believes different things. Some people believe that the earth is flat, and some people believe the earth is round. So, first you have to believe there is a flat and that there is a round. You see, there's no way for you to know because light hits your eyes in a two-dimensional way. And even to say all of that has a lot of assumptions within it. But light hits your eyes in a two-dimensional way, and if you believe that, then how can you know for sure that there is a three-dimensional? There could simply be a movie being played for you. And you could say, well, no, because when I dip my hand into water, or some example, but that's challenge that person that speaks, that says, well, no, I know that that's not true because of this. Challenge that. This is an active thing to do. It's strange. Nothing appears as it is. Even looking at this screen, I see myself in it. But I know that in reality, it is a bunch of lights that when come together give the illusion of seeing myself on it. But then, even that is an assumption. How do I know that I'm not seeing myself? In fact, right now, I'm assuming that this is made of a bunch of lights because I read it somewhere. But this, in fact, this device could literally be me looking into a window of myself. Maybe another dimension where everything exists exactly the same as it does here, except one or two things have changed. If I jump into this reality, everything will look backwards. The kitchen will now be in the living room. And where the door used to be, the hallway will be. In fact, how do I know that that's not how it is? Just so when that light hits my eyes, I perceive it the other way. I'm not very educated, so I couldn't tell you. And even then, you have to begin to doubt your education. Right now, I'm speaking to myself, not only in this screen, but if I choose to believe that I will upload this video, then anyone who watches it is myself watching me. having a staring contest with my dog. Right, Xander? Just breathe life into him. Xander? 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 Good boy. So, there wasn't originally a point to this video, and the mind started to attempt to make one. It still does. But if I believe that people are separate, and that there's real suffering, if I choose to believe that you suffer, then I wish that you don't. It's funny to me, because one moment I can believe that, and the next, I don't. Anything the mind says, challenge it. If you're going to identify as anything, don't. Identify as the one who challenges the self. Be that. Now don't say, well, I do this because I'm the challenger. Because the very next thing you'd have to challenge is that what the challenger does? Doesn't being a challenger require a assumption that there is such thing as a challenger and an other, or a challenger and everything else? And it doesn't even the word challenging or challenger require something to challenge? If you are the whole, you cannot challenge anything. It's only when you draw lines and say, well, this is a person, and this is a house, and this is a company, that you begin to be able to come up with words such as challenger. You have to draw lines. If you get a Challenger vehicle and a Corvette, and you have them race each other, in order to have a race between the two, you first have to recognize that there are two, and that they are not in fact one. If you were to fly in a helicopter and look down, this movement like this may look more like a thermometer. Thermometer? Just a word. Moving up in relation to itself, or moving down in relation to itself. Even you passing through a room requires you drawing the line between your room and you. So first, I want you to imagine something. This tripped me out the first time I tried it. I want you to stop believing in a room and a you, but believe in the air. And if you believe in all of this as one, you, the air, and the room, when you walk through yourself, you literally will think, how is this possible? How is it that I can move through and within myself. It's like it's difficult to describe. Try it. If you are all of it, including the air around you, how can you move through yourself? If you think of it all as a solid mass, how does it make sense? And that's where you want to find yourself. Because the reason I said to identify as the challenger, because the more you challenge, the more the mind has nothing to say. If I challenge the mind enough right now, I will not be able to speak, because I'll reach a point where I've destroyed so many lines and challenged so many assumptions that I find myself as an entire universe. And to think that I will speak assumes that I am a person, and that there is also a reason in which to speak. But if I am all of it, then I am the reason, and I am the whole. Even if, as the whole, you still draw lines between the people and the objects, and if you do that, then you'll think, I have no reason to speak because there are millions and millions of people already speaking, saying the same words I am in different combinations, or possibly the same. Or as this person is. But if you stop drawing lines and you just think of yourself as the whole, with no separate happenings happening within it, then all you can do is feel the stillness of the moment. Even the idea of wanting enlightenment is to assume that there's a separation between enlightenment and you, and that there is a you and everything else. Like I said, the word everything is not the right word. And of course, that requires me to disagree with it. But all seems to be a more accurate representation. These two words, everything, still draws lines between things. It just says that it's referencing all of them. You just say all, I am all. The lines disappear. How can you judge anybody when you are everybody? There are some things that when you challenge enough of the person, where the person no longer speaks, where right and wrong don't make a lot of sense. It's like light and dark. Let's say right here, I have pure light. And right here, I have pure darkness, complete absence of light. Where does light begin and light end, and darkness begin and darkness end? Well, we can answer two of those. Light begins here, and darkness ends here, conceptually speaking, right? But should we say that pure darkness is here, and the next bar up is not darkness? See, I'm sure that all of this would look like darkness to you, and this would start to look like there's light. If this is pure darkness, then the amount of light that we can receive using this human body, we may not, from here to here, we may think there's still complete darkness. But in reality, there's light. There's some light. So this concept of light and darkness requires you to say that there is one and the other. It requires you to say there is a light and a dark. Now, you could say there's a spectrum. That there's light on this side and there's darkness on this side. But even then, you have to say that light and darkness exist without anything else. But we know that can't be true. Right now, hold out your palm and create light. You can't. We need a sun, or electricity, or something of that sort. And that is what allows light. So this idea that light and darkness as a concept exists separately from everything else is false. It exists as everything else. In fact, without light, you wouldn't even know that anything did exist. That's why when the lights are off and you walk through your house, you start bumping into everything. Because you don't know that anything exists. And then you're like, oh, something exists. Oh, something exists. Oh, something exists. This is actually what it's like to be a person. If you believe that you're the person, it's like walking through your house without the lights on. Oh, even better, it's like walking through someone else's house without the lights on. Because it's not familiar to you. So you walk around and you trying to just make it to the bathroom, but you don't even know if there is a bathroom. You think there's one. There must be a bathroom. But you can't find it. And even if you've walked into the bathroom, how will you know that it exists unless you can find the light switch? If you turn on the lights to the whole house, then you won't have to think, oh, something exists, oh, something exists, oh, something exists as you walk through this house. You will just be aware of everything happening. And you'll walk into the bathroom. You won't even think about this stuff, just like you don't when you normally walk through your house. You know, something maybe something will come up like, I don't know. Trying to come up with an example. Belief is absence of truth. Anything you believe, once you believe something, you'll begin to believe more things. Start to build. Challenge all of it. We treat our mind like it's the voice of God. It says, I've got to set an alarm for my job, because if I don't set an alarm, then I won't wake up, and then I'll get fired. I'll show up late and I'll get fired. And we go, oh, yes. Yeah. Your words are truth, Father. No. First of all, if we really go deep into this, you are the job. But what is a job? Well, a job is an action, something that you have to do. But in order to do, you must have an other that you are doing. But if you are all of it, then you can't do yourself. In fact, you can do yourself. That's what everything is. If me talking is doing, if it's an action, and you listening is an action, but I am talking to you, then I am in fact doing myself. There was a point where I actually believed that this video would go up on YouTube. Probably around like 12 minutes to like 25, or maybe 38 even, or maybe even 47. But now we're at 49 minutes in, and I refuse to believe this is going to go on YouTube. The point that I was making was that you have to assume so many things in order to believe that any of that is true. That you even have a job to go to and that you can't even get fired. Sure, let's start drawing lines and say, you work at a job and you can get fired if you don't show up to work, okay? If all that's true, how do you know that if you show up late, you'll get fired? You can't know that. In fact, all of the things that you're believing don't even exist right now. I work at Amazon. So I could say, I work for Jeff Bezos. How do I even know that there is a Jeff Bezos? Sure, I could get on my computer, and I could go to Google, which I don't even know exists right now, and I could type in Jeff Bezos, and then I could see pictures of him, and everyone on the internet could tell me that he exists. But I still don't know. In fact, he could be here in my room right now, in my living room, and I could hold a conversation with him and still not know if he exists. Okay. So, a lot of you are probably thinking, if you're thinking, as in if you're watching the videos, what I meant. Is that what I meant? Can I mean? Anyways, this is getting stupid. To who? A lot of you are thinking, this is pretty out there, man. This isn't helpful to me at all. But it is. Now I know I've got to assume a few things in order to tell you that, but we're going to go with it anyways. A lot of you have things you concern yourself with, like goals and things you want to do in the future, and that's okay. But there's lots of things you assume. Like there's such thing as being a good person and a bad person. So you try to be a good person under the assumption that you are not inherently good. We could even say that we're all inherently bad. Then I feel like if good doesn't exist, then good has to exist. I don't know. It doesn't matter. The point being that every day you worry about things that you don't even know exist. Your whole life is based off so many assumptions. I actually told Damon this earlier. There's an animal out there that can see 16 different base colors. I believe it's the rainbow mantis shrimp. You can fact check me if you'd like. But if you know that there's a rainbow mantis shrimp and that it sees in 16 colors and you only see in 3 base colors, I still don't know what I'm talking about, but it doesn't matter. Then how can you trust anything you see? How can you? How do you not know that there are? Some people believe that there's spiritual energies that you can walk into and you'll just automatically be drained. How do you know that that's not another color that you just can't perceive? That there's a whole other thing that we're not even capable of understanding as people? You cannot know anything for sure. Nothing. You could believe you're the universe, or you could believe that there is no universe and all that exists is what. You could even believe that nothing exists. The moment you open your eyes, you'll be so confused. What is all that? See, you don't have to go that far into it. You can challenge the mind as much as you'd like. But that's the source of all your problems. Even if I have no ego, or if I am enlightened, then I may think, well, I need to save people. Because there are people who are not enlightened. All of that is an assumption. What if everyone's just fucking with you? Sorry for my language. But even then, you have to assume that there's such a thing as bad language. In fact, some people would say it's all connected. Well, see, Trey, it's real simple. You use bad language, and therefore you're a bad person. People who use bad language are bad people. What is bad? What is bad? You say, well, that person killed that person, and that's bad. Okay. Let's try this out. That person killed that person, and that is bad. Okay. So maybe from your perspective, this is a bad thing. From your perspective. Let's try something else. Right now, I'm dying. What do you mean, man? Right now, I have cells that are being reborn, and I have cells that are passing away. Skin cells that are dying, skin cells that are being rebuilt, air that I'm breathing. If I have a cell that's dying, if a white blood cell kills off a cell, or if there's a cell that dies that has cancer, another cell could be happy about that. But then the cancer wouldn't. In fact, the cancer would think that the body is evil. And you would think that cancer is evil. Because your job is to stay alive and to care for people who exist. But see, that's a limited perspective, because cancer's job is to kill people. I mean, it's to kill cells. It's to populate, to spread itself. And so, from cancer's perspective, it's doing the right thing. Now, if I kill somebody, you could say that's wrong too. But then you would have to believe that, well, if you're the buzzards, if you're the insects, if you're the, what's that thing called? A maggot. That's not bad. That's a freaking meal. See, even all of that is me working with you. Because there is no maggot. And there is no person. In fact, that's what makes English so interesting. And language so interesting. Because to the mind, language makes sense. But language doesn't exist. Language is just a sound. And we may have rules written down. But you have to use a language to read it. It's all conceptual. You carry your language with you. And you look at things like this. It says, get our app. And I don't have my English textbook, and I'm not looking at it. Get our app. Oh. I'm not doing any of that. I carry it with me. So, how can you even know that it's reliable? What if all of the language just shifted, and you're not aware of it? So what you think says fart is really food. So or food is fart. So you think, oh man, free food. You get over there, it starts to stink, and you look for the food, and you can't find it. I know this is crazy and out there, but language is what makes you have a conceptual understanding of separation. In order to construct a sentence, you first have to assume that there are separate things. One of the easiest to do, or to say, is to say, I am. But even then, if you say I am, you're assuming that those words even make sense. That language hasn't shifted. You can't know anything, so stop trying. Just perceive. Just perceive. The more you learn to let go of trying to understand, the more you come into full understanding, the more happiness you'll have in your life. You are the challenger. And anytime the challenger says, well, what do? I, as the challenger, I do this. As your job as the challenger is to challenge that. That very thing. I am the challenger. Challenge that. Challenge all. And you'll end up having nothing to complain about. Nothing to be upset about. Because even I, having made this video, and it lasting a whole hour, I could complain about how this video is never going to go on YouTube. Or how, I don't know, just anything. Anything. Like, you know, later I could say, well, that was useless. I recorded all that and it didn't even get uploaded. But even then, that would mean that in the moment right now I'm assuming it's getting uploaded. In fact, even me saying this makes me feel good because I feel I'm contributing. That I'm helping. And if I'm not helping you, then I'm helping myself. Because knowing that I am a challenger and that my job is to challenge all is helpful. And I've enjoyed this. I've laughed during this video. I've cuddled with my dog to assume that I can laugh and that there is such thing as a dog separate from myself. There's nothing to be upset about, really. You have to believe in order to be upset. Challenge yourself, and there will be complete peace. So, that's all I've got to say. Have a beautiful day. And if it was only Damon that saw this video, he probably didn't watch it all the way to an hour and 5 minutes. But if he did, I hope you enjoyed it as well. Alright, bye. Thank you for watching. Have a beautiful day.